Good evening, everyone. Tonight, the class of Regular 8 is going to introduce to you a beautiful province of Canada, Nova Scotia. Sit back and enjoy this short tour through the Jewel of Atlantic.
Nova Scotia, or New Scotland, is a Canadian province located on the eastern seaboard of North America, one of the four original provinces, along with New Brunswick, Ontario, and Quebec, that constituted the Dominion of Canada in 1867. The province includes region of Mi'kmaq Nation of Mi'kmaq. The Mi'kmaq people are among the large Algonquian language family and inhabited Nova Scotia at the time the first European colonists arrived. The first Europeans to settle in what is now Nova Scotia were the French, who arrived in 1604, and the Catholic Mi'kmaq and Acadian formed the majority of the population of the colony for the next 150 years. In 1605, French colonists established the first permanent European settlement in the future Canada at the Port Royal, founding what would become known as Acadia. The province's present name, which means New Scotland in Latin, was the result of brief Scottish claim to the region of 1620. Nova Scotia is one of the Canada maritime provinces, and both its past and its present are tied closely to the maritime life of fishing, shipbuilding, and transatlantic shipping. Nova Scotia has a diverse history of Aboriginal, Celtic, Acadian, and African culture that date back 100 years, and in this case of Mi'kmaq, thousands of years. Its history and diversity is seen reflected in many museum, festival, events held in cities, towns, and communities throughout the province. It also expressed in their music, art, food, and traditions.
If you ask what you should do when you go to Nova Scotia, I will show you some tourist points to visit. Located on the east side of Canada, in the Maritime region, Nova Scotia can be a delicious box of surprises. So, shall we check it out? The Halifax Waterfront Boardwalk is a public footpath located in Nova Scotia, Canada, built on the greatness of the ocean in 1976. The waterfront development goal was created experience and opportunities by investing in infrastructure at the water's edge and has always been the historical core of commercial and naval Halifax. The Halifax Harbour focused on expanding operation through the Bedford, Dartmouth, and Lunenburg waterfronts. Today, Halifax and the Lunenburg waterfronts are two of the most visited destinations in Nova Scotia. Peg's Cove is primarily a fishing village. Located on the Atlantic coast, although tourism has taken over, there are still about 50 people in Peg's Cove who practice lobster fishing. It is possible to walk between the houses of the village dock to the small port where the lobster traps are lighted up along the boats, which plungers us into what was fishing village in the last century. A good walk from the lighthouse through the village to research the memorial to Swissair Flight 111 and return by road to the car park. The Annapolis Vale is located the west part of the Nova Scotia, formed by through a between two parallel mountains ranges along the shore of the Bay of Fundy. Natural power is apparent with the world-famous Bay of Fundy tides and ever-changing landscapes of rocky shores, floating farmlands, salt marshes, and the broad sandy beaches. Finally, Lavender Garden is a little piece of province, can be found in the mountain northern region of Nova Scotia called Northumberland Strait. Symphony Lavender Garden during the months of June and September. This month, the doors are open for the tourists. We can see the bloom of lavenders. In addition, the opportunity to take amazing photos and the souvenir shop our souvenirs. You can bring a picnic basket to enjoy the atmosphere. In the region, there is a winery called Josephine Yards, which is a great opportunity to lunch and to taste wines for free.
Nova Scotia, or New Scotland, is a province in Canada, and here we are going to talk about its rich culinary of local dishes. To start, we have to talk about the main specialty and the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to Nova Scotia. Of course, I'm talking about the lobster. Nova Scotia is famous for their lobster dishes that are a must when you visit the place, with a lot of variations like lobster rolls, creamed lobster, lobster boil, but they don't have only lobster dishes there. And so, we're going to talk about some lesser known but just as good ones. Starting with a rather simple one, we got oysters. In New Scotia's coastal waters grow a variety of oysters that have a refreshing salty taste, and many restaurants of the area offer freshly picked oysters for the clients to enjoy. The next one is the dulse, a red seaweed that grows in the Bay of Fundy. It can be eaten normally as a snack, or even made into recipes, or even made into things like flakes or powder. Now we're going to talk about the apples of Nova Scotia that grows in Annapolis Valley. Apples are celebrated each spring at the Annapolis Valley Apple Blossom Festival, and they even come in over 20 varieties, used by locals to make some of the best crisp and flavorful dishes you can eat in Canada. Up next we have oatcakes, originated from Scotland, and have a balance of both sweet and salty tastes, some even with peanut butter or dipped in chocolate for that extra sweet flavor. And they go really well with a good cup of coffee or tea, making it a must try when you visit the province and go to a bakery or a cafe. Next we have the world famous Digby scallop, a succulent and fresh variety of fish caught off the shores of the Bay of Fundy. And several restaurants in the province serve this dish in a variety of ways, like wrapped in bacon, better than deep fried, or even as a salad topper, proving the versatility of this delicious dish. Now, to close it on a high note, we have the donair, the official food of Halifax, a city in Nova Scotia. Donair is a spiced beef cooked in a spit and shaved onto a pita, doused in sweet garlic sauce and garnished with tomatoes and raw onions. Just hearing this is enough to make most people want to try, and its deliciousness cannot be overstated. And that's it for the culinary of Nova Scotia. There are many other great foods to be found in Nova Scotia, but I picked the ones that are the specialties of the province to accentuate the culinary taste and give you a little sample of what you can expect from the foods there.
About some curiosities of Nova Scotia, there are a couple of interesting facts that may you want to know. Nova Scotia is very known for its culture and thematic excursions that can be done by bus, boat, or even Segway, which is a very common way there to see its sights without taking much effort. Nova Scotia is also very popular for its lighthouses, art galleries, and religion sites, and you must visit these amazing buildings if you ever get a chance to see the province. If you are a fan of a good alcoholic drink, Nova Scotia is the perfect place for you. You can visit from the vineyards and cellars with delicious wine tastings to classic distilleries that produce the good old local beer of Nova Scotia. If all these things weren't enough, we can also do a lot of outdoor activities like horseback riding, canoeing, and even camping. Nova Scotia province is roughly the size of the state of Paraíba. Much of this land is surrounded by the Atlantic Ocean. For this reason, the province looks a lot like an island. Nova Scotia's capital is Halifax. Halifax, like the whole province, has a really strong Scottish, British, and Irish influence, and you can see this in its culture and buildings. Howes Harbor, the Bay of Fundy, is considered the largest tidal range in the world. It's an amazing phenomenon. As you can see, Nova Scotia has a plenty of attractions and places to know. It's an amazing province and a perfect place to visit. So, that's it for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed.